But if you're using your credit cards for food or gas to get to work, maybe it's time to talk to a lawyer. I feel like I do resolutions on a rolling basis. I keep a journal with goals and things. So it's a rolling thing for me. So I don't have any fresh ones for 2025. It depends on the person, because if a person landed in a spot where they cannot reasonably pay them off in a relatively short period of time, along with their other debt, then I would go down the road of seeing if a bankruptcy is smart for me.
My mentor, and I've talked about this before, and he has a saying that action kills fear, and I couldn't agree more how important that is. So it's 2025. Are you big at New Year's resolutions? Hi, this is attorney Jamie Miller, and welcome to another edition of the Miller Law Chronicles podcast. Today is our first podcast of 2025. Welcome, Deborah Stencel, to the new year. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I am good. How was your New Year's?
Oh, it was nice and peaceful. We are afraid of drunk drivers, so we stay home.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do, and I hope it sounds like you had a relaxing New Year's Eve. And what did you end up doing? Like, what were some of the specifics? Did you stay up till midnight?
Close. We stayed up till New York midnight and watched the ball drop. We had some champagne and charcuterie and watched some TV. It was just quiet for once. It was nice.
Charcuterie. Yeah, I love charcuterie. Yeah, we were in Chicago celebrating with my grandson and my kids, and my daughter came in from DC, and so it was really just a wonderful New Year's. I asked you before our podcast if the holiday, kind of the Christmas, New Year, Hanukkah thing, kind of has gone fast for you.
Yeah.
You told me, what was your statement about that?
Oh, I could just use a little more of it, I think. It went so fast. I didn't get to soak it in. We did get to go see a Christmas Carol at the Little Red Church. So that was fun. We had a lovely family time together. And then Matt and I made a turkey yesterday with all the trimmings, just because we felt like we'd missed out on family dinner. So we did
Right.
that. So I don't know what I'm complaining about. Everything was pretty nice.
I love that. There was a wonderful, there's so much content out there, whether it's like Squid Game 2 or Wicked, which I went to see for the second time. On CNN last night, they aired the Luther Vandross documentary. And I don't know if you were a Luther Vandross fan, but if you get a chance to watch that, it was really good.
Oh.
I've always been a big fan of Luther.
Oh, I've been listening to the biography of Hamilton that came out like 2003 or 4 that was the basis for the musical. 33 hours I invested in the last couple of weeks, and that was incredibly fun. Just really interesting.
Did you say you're reading it or listening to it?
Audiobook. Yeah.
And was that, who wrote that? McCullen?
Ron Chernow.
Okay. And that book that's a thick book. And
Yes.
so, and who reads the book?
Oh, his name might come to me if you gave me a minute, but it's not a famous person. He was a pretty good reader. He kept mispronouncing coup de grace, which annoyed me. But other than that, he was a very good reader. The speed was good. I was able to, do laundry and pick things up while listening, because I don't have time to stop and read, right? But the discussion of the Federalist Papers and where our judiciary comes from and how Hamilton was instrumental in all of these things that affect our daily lives is utterly fascinating.
That's so great. And when you're listening to audiobooks, do you zone out? Sometimes you said you were able to listen while you're in laundry, but is there like, oh my God, I just missed 10 minutes. And will you rewind or you just keep going?
Sometimes I'll rewind, sometimes I keep going. I mean, this was such a dense, fact specific thing. If I missed a fact or two, I just let it keep going. I did fall asleep once listening, and I went back on that one. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I'm listening to a really remarkable book called Wolf Hunt, which has been really, really interesting. I've enjoyed that. And I listened to it at like a 1.2 or 1.3 speed so I can listen a little bit faster. Do you
Yeah,
do that also?
I do. I do because I have a, patience problem. Get to the
Right.
point.
Yeah. And I've also noticed as I've gotten older that my retention is not great, as great as
Oh,
it should be. So I'm constantly going back and re-listening. And I also like to tie the book to my Kindle so that I can read it and listen. Although I'll listen more than I will read.
I have not tried that, but
They have this thing called Whisper Sync that if you
hmm
have both um, the book and the Kindle, which can get they give you a discount if you have both. It allows, like, if you listen and then you go to the book, it picks up um, where you stop listening.
huh.
So it's real easy, real easy to use.
Hmm.
So it's 2025. Are you big at New Year's resolutions?
No, I feel like I do resolutions on a rolling basis. I keep a journal with goals and things. So it's a rolling thing for me. So I don't have any fresh ones for 2025. Do you do them?
I do. And, one of my New Year's resolutions this year is to be more in the moment. I'm
Oh,
always I'm always worrying about, what tomorrow could bring and what the future is. And I'm often worrying so much about tomorrow that I forget about being showing gratitude for what I have today. So I'm gonna try to focus on that.
that's excellent. My most recent one is it's hard sort of staying on top of things, doing it as it comes and staying organized so that things don't pile up. Uh so that's in my home, in my car, in my work, it's just prioritizing and sorting.
Right. And one of my habits that I'm not sure you know about is that at the end of every year, before January 1st, I make sure that I've this is my work thing, completed every task. I've
Oof,
returned every phone call. I've returned every email. That every paper on my desk is scanned and disappears from my desk. And it allows me to get a fresh jump into the new year. And I was able to do that last week to get all caught up.
that's
And
amazing.
it's very cleansing.
Yes. That's a beautiful thing.
Throwing
Beautiful thing.
throwing things away is very cleansing.
It is, and I'm starting to worry about what we'll leave Matt's kids if we don't get started on this house, because I think it's going to take 20 years to clean it out. And if I get to live
If
20
you
more
don't
years,
what,
uh,
I know. Unfortunately, my parents died young, and so when me and my brother and my sister had to go to my dad's house, my mom predeceased my father, and empty everything out, it was really easy because my sister took everything of value, and my brother and I took everything of meaning.
oh, that's interesting.
So it worked out well. And you can always use that
Say
the
again.
Marie Kondo thing.
Oh,
The Marie Kondo. Thank you for your service.
right, right. Thank you. Go with God. Yes, yes. I
Right,
always get
right.
stuck. I have a few boxes in the closets that I haven't gotten out to the car to take to Goodwill or the other place. So sometimes my good intentions I get stuck. Like I have a box of broken electronics that need to go to the special place. That box has been there for a minute. But
Right. Like, how many umbrellas do you have in your home?
well, when I need one, I'm going to say zero. But
Right.
when I'm looking for other things, there's probably four or five for two heads.
Eh, right. And how about snow scrapers?
Oh, snow scrapers. This is embarrassing. We're sharing a car for a couple of years and we still had five snow scrapers. Now we have two cars and I don't have one in my car.
And now you have two cars and you what?
And I don't have one in my car. I don't know where the other four are, but they're not in my car. I had to use a credit card the other day. Scrape, scrape, scrape.
Well, with global warming, you probably don't need it,
Yes,
right?
true, true. Soon we shan't need them.
Yeah, I mean, this weather, even today, they were on the weather last night reporting that today's going to be a freezing cold day, and I think it's 28.
Ugh,
So
that's
still,
nothing.
still pretty. Still pretty. And then one more New Year's question before we move on. What was your worst purchase for 2024?
Well, I bought a dress for my wedding that I was convinced would be wonderful, and it wasn't. And Matt, who thinks everything I do or wear is perfect, I can never get an answer out of him. He said, "Yeah, maybe not that one." So, but I had missed the return window. So now I have a dress that I can't wear because apparently it looks terrible, and that I paid, I don't know, $80 for. So that was a bad purchase.
Right. Yeah. All right. Let's talk bankruptcy for a minute.
Oh, all right, if you would.
So as we go into kind of 2025,
Hmm.
and interesting kind of things are happening. We have a new president coming. There's some continued fear about raising interest rates. The stock market did great in 2024. Who knows what the next year is going to bring? Credit card spending continues to go up, and I fear that kind of during Christmas that people made a lot of credit card charges and other debt situations with the hope that they're going to be able to pay it, coming up in 2025. And so, if you had some advice for someone who has those credit card bills coming due in 2025, what would you give to them?
Well, I mean, it depends on the person, right? Because if a person has unfortunately landed in a spot where they cannot reasonably pay them off in a relatively short period of time along with their other debt, then I would go down the road of seeing if a bankruptcy is smart for them. I mean, anytime your credit cards, well, it depends on your income, but anytime your credit cards are significant, 15 or more, again, it depends on the person's income and situation, but it's almost a waste of money to not file bankruptcy, right? If they qualify and it solves multiple issues for them. But if we're talking about just a unique Christmas time overspending, made a little bit of a mess, then figure out which ones have the worst interest rates or which one has the smallest balance that you can pay off. You can chart it out to devote extra money to the worst card every month until it gets paid off, or get a they're never low interest, lower interest consolidation loan so that you can make it go faster. But that's the choice for folks with steady income who can afford it, who just want to save some money and get out of it quicker. But if you're using your credit cards for food or gas to get to work, maybe it's time to talk to a lawyer, right?
Right. Because because if you continue to dig that hole where you're paying the minimum monthly payment and you're not making progress, that can be fine. And your advice, I mean, talk to a lawyer about bankruptcy is really good advice. And that is a great idea. But also talk to somebody that you have trust, whether it's a spouse or a friend or a parent, and get a sense of how they can help you, or because maybe the problem isn't as bad as you think. You may run up, $10,000 or $15,000 of credit card debt, and that is very very scary. And as that bill comes in every month, it's very scary to have to face that bill. But if you really kind of take a step back and you have a plan, which could be, I'm getting my tax returns
Mm-hmm.
in April, and I'm gonna get a $3,500 tax returns. And like you said, strategically think about what the highest interest rate card is to
Right.
pay that first. Or can you transfer balances
Mm-hmm.
to lower interest credit cards? Can you do some sort of, deferment with your credit card company? Keep in mind those deferments, the interest generally continues to rise. But I think my word, and I think it's somewhat you use, is do something about it, because by kind of, you know, putting your head in the sand, you're the problem's not going to solve itself. The other thing with gig opportunities, with Instacart, with, Uber or Lyft, there's so many opportunities to make a few extra dollars. And if, your minimum payment is 150 and you're able to pay 210 a month, that's going to get that debt paid down more quickly.
It's true.
And when you say consult with a bankruptcy lawyer, we're experts. We do this all the time. And when you call a bankruptcy lawyer, whether it's our office or anyone else, it's information and education that you can put in your back pocket and know what it is and know what your options are. And I think that's a very important lesson, is to make sure you know what your options are as you move forward, and try not to blindly go forward in life without addressing a problem that you have.
I call that ostriching.
Why? Like you're
I
looking up.
No, I feel like a lot of people view the mail, or nowadays the email from the creditors, as something that they don't want to open or see, and so they set it aside and then stick their heads in the sand. So, and it's human. It's very human and very, very common to not want to open that letter. Open the letter. Open the letter. Pick up the phone. Call the
Yeah,
creditor. Talk
I
to them about
I
your options.
agree. Just being honest
They-
with yourself and what your goals are,
Yeah.
and maybe you love your job and you just need to make more money. Have a conversation with your employer, see what that additional opportunity is. Look at other opportunities, but there's always something you can do. You don't need to feel like you're stuck. My mentor, and I've talked about this before, and he has a saying that action kills fear. And I couldn't agree more how important that is. So that's my
That's
words of
that's
wisdom.
a beautiful saying. Yep.
Yeah, have
Nope.
you heard
That's a
that
beautiful
before?
saying. I think from you, and I think I need to write it down because it's so true. It's so true. Action does kill fear. It's true on stage. It's true
Right,
when you're driving. It's true when you're dealing with your family, and it's true when you're dealing with your bills. It's beautiful.
right. I love that. Well, as usual, I appreciate the conversation. I want to thank you for a great year of podcasting in 24. It's really fun. You make this fun, and I really enjoy my conversations with you. And I'm glad that we can record them, because I know someday in a court of law it will be used against us.
Probably.
Happy New
Uh,
Year, my friend.
Happy New Year, Jamie. Thank you for everything.
Say hi to Matt, and good luck to the Packers against the Bears on Sunday.